Hi, welcome to part two of Planning Your Club's Future. I'm Guy Griffiths from GG Fit, and we put this presentation together for a congress actually, but then that got delayed. So we've split it up into three quick lunchtime sessions. This is an edited version of the whole thing. Last time we covered future memberships, and we jumped into lots of different examples of the way we see memberships of the future, helping us to grow the industry beyond 15%. I think realistically it's more like 12% at the moment, but building on hybrid fitness and also remote fitness, not necessarily adding more members to the club membership, but adding more members onto remote, online, and virtual fitness. So look up that video from last week. We cover a lot of the not just active and exercise health, but also looking at nutrition and mental health. I believe that's the future of the fitness industry. I think we should rebrand as the health and fitness industry. We need to change our language a lot. But today I want to jump into member communication. Now, at the moment, right now in England, certainly during our second lockdown, there's a massive focus on re-engagement or even just engagement of members and trying to get the absent, which are all of our members in England, or at-risk members, those who aren't visiting. Same in Scotland and Wales, where we've just reopened after the firebreak lockdown. A big focus on getting members back. Sending out emails is fine. We also need to look at lots of other communication methods as well. Ultimately, phone calls are best in terms of engaging with members and having a proper conversation, being able to listen to them, not just send them information. But the other important point here, the other important headline, if you want to take away, one message or one form of communication is not usually enough. People will promise that they're coming back next week or as soon as you reopen, but often they won't, or something else will get in the way. So a follow-up email or phone call or text is always really worthwhile sending. We're also not just focusing on members here. Sure, you want to get your members back into the club as soon as you reopen, or you want to carry on campaigns to re-engage them, to get them back to the club. But actually, it's not necessarily about getting them back to the club. It might just be getting them onto a remote membership or onto an online class. But we also have a whole bunch of members who've left recently, or who've left in the last year or two, and a whole bunch of prospects and leads that you should be talking to about your latest health and fitness offerings, as well as getting referrals, not necessarily just through your members, but through those ex-members and prospects too. And finally, the other area of communication we really need to focus on, and clubs that came out of lockdown one really well, were those who focused on communicating with their staff a lot during lockdown, having virtual coffee mornings, having one-to-ones, team meetings, and just keeping staff engaged and active, even though they were furloughed, even though some of them were still furloughed after lockdown. Let's not forget about them. Now, of course, there is a focus to try and get these members to rejoin or to re-engage or to get them back into the club. That's not going to be for everyone, though. And we also need to look at this ulterior motive, if you like, of communicating with members to just get feedback from them, to just find out how they're doing, what they're doing, and what they want in the future. So feedback for me is just as, if not even more important than getting members to rejoin. Reaching out to them with calls and having conversations is good, but also surveys, social posts, getting all those comments, and getting the comments that come with things like Net Promoter Score and Customer Confidence Score into a central place, onto a platform or into a book or a spreadsheet or something that says, look, this is what our members are feeling at the moment, this is what they want. And with that kind of feedback, not just from members, but also from staff, because they are very close to your members, and what ex-members want and feel and what they think, that is what is going to help you to define your fitness offering going forward. Whether that is, right, all of our ex-members want live stream classes. Okay, well, we're already doing that. Let's offer it to them all. Let's get them on that kind of membership. Or if people want mindfulness or nutrition advice and recipes and to log their water intake or their food in the app, then let's make sure they can do that and make sure they know we can offer it to them. So bringing all this feedback together in a central platform is really important. There's lots of ways of doing it. I would always have a look at my customer lens. This is not sponsored by them. That's just someone that we work with and respect, and who do a great job of analysing all that kind of feedback. But there's lots of ways of doing it, and lots of different platforms. When we're actually communicating with these members and getting them to rejoin, we need to continue the communication journey. It's really important, and it's something I've talked about a lot over the years. When people join or rejoin or come onto a different type of membership, and these new remote virtual memberships are going to be just as important, we need to give them some kind of welcome session. It's not necessarily an hour one-to-one sit down with them. It could be a short video. And there were some good questions on the live session earlier on about how we induct 5,000 members. Video is a great way to do it. Group inductions and group sessions, bringing people together is good, but it's about giving people confidence. And the communications need to do the same. They need to engage with members. You need to get people in the habit of opening your communications, whether those are text or email. Lots of other things you should be doing, and you need to make sure members, as they come back in, are re-engaged with your mission and your purpose, to get them, whether it's to get them more active or to help them feel better, and have them earn their first coaching session or their PT session by being active, or by logging their feelings or whatever else. So it's not just about visits anymore. It's about being active, or about checking in regularly on the app. So it's really important to get the people that are joining or rejoining or getting re-engaged, to get them onto, I don't necessarily want to say a journey, but to get them into a communication process, and for them to understand what they're going to get, and then for you to deliver it. So that's an overview of the way I see communication happening at the moment, how we can improve it by listening more, and by getting more customer feedback, and then responding to that feedback. Again, we've talked about feedback a lot through lockdown. There are other videos and sessions and articles you can read on that. I'm just going to jump quickly in for the last minute or two on membership models. We looked at this last week on the new digital membership offerings and the future memberships that I think are going to be prevalent, with some examples. Now, I've thrown these examples back in here in terms of the memberships. We looked at value and cost last week. But I think communication is an important piece as well. And the way I see communication happening, whether you're on a full PT membership or the regular peak or off-peak membership, or even if you're just on a £1 a month app membership, I think the communication levels need to be high for all of those. And I think the focus on them should also be high. When I say focus, I mean, let's look at some analytics of how engaging our communications are, whether it's an email or a text. What feedback are we getting from members? Are members enjoying the communications that we're sending out? And to talk about all of the different models you've got equally on social media, say, and to see which ones are getting engagement. Who is the remote coaching member of the month? Let's talk about them in the newsletter that gets sent out to all members, because that's the way that you're going to move people probably from an app membership up to a remote coaching membership, by hearing stories of people that are being successful. And there'll be success stories of people on the app and people doing metabolic balance memberships as well, whether they're in the club or whether they're remote. So communication needs to be high for all the different membership levels. Just because an app membership costs less doesn't mean you should focus your communications less on that kind of model. In the same way, just because a full personal training session or personal training client pays quite a lot more doesn't mean that they should get any more or less communications. So just a little dip into the membership models there. We'll do that again next week when we look at retention strategies. So do come back and join me live on Zoom next Thursday at 1 p.m. for retention strategies, or you'll find the abridged version of it without Q&A and discussion afterwards, whether it's on LinkedIn or YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Guy at GG Fit. Do reach out on LinkedIn.